Hi, I'm Jameson Newlander, Alan Frog from the Lost Boys, and you're watching the Frog Brothers Podcast.
Let me get him!
It's refreshment time, folks.
I'm just gonna go watch a movie.
Do you like scary movies?
I don't watch movies.
I have to return some videotapes.
You have a TV? No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. Don't need a TV.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.
Over 1,600 titles, each for rent at just $2 the first night, and only
Fiction.
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
It's a laser disc.
Okay, I want channels 18, 24, 63, 109, 87, and Weather Channel.
Welcome to the Frog Brothers Podcast with your hosts, Justin and Alec.
Hi, kids. My name is Justin.
Hello,
this here
Alec.
is
Alec.
as you just said.
I said I'm Alec. Don't forget to bring a towel.
This is episode number 70 of the Frog Brothers Podcast. Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, theys, hims, he, she's, whatever you believe, whatever you want to be. You are welcome here.
We just released like 2 bonus episodes this week that you guys should check out if you haven't already. One, we crossed over, should you say, with the Interdimensional Cross Rip, Troy Benjamin and Chris Stewart, who are staples of the Ghostbusters community. And you should check that out, because we talked about Ghostbusters Answer the Call. Then we also talked with
Tim Lottie about his his Indiegogo campaign for the Night Stars comic book hardcover edition, and that's pretty awesome. It's fun to hear him. He's done a lot of the IDW Ghostbuster stuff, done some amazing artwork, so if you're not familiar with him, check it out, especially if you like independent comics.
Yes. Check it out.
There's approximately 3 weeks left in that Indiegogo campaign. Budgets for all. Pricing for all budgets.
So, check it out.
So, it's episode 70 here. We had a pretty big weekend here. But first, we're going to start off with a little bit of news. First of all, I'd like to say happy 30th birthday to Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, dude.
Yeah?
And also happy birthday to The Frighteners, turns 25 today.
Yep.
So, happy anniversary to those movies.
Mm-hmm.
Getting ready to go into Comic-Con week next week, so there's a lot of excellent releases, a lot of product reveals teased early on this week, and NECA had teased some fucking amazing Gremlins figures.
Yeah, more Gremlins figures for me to buy.
Gremlins 2. It seems like they're on a Gremlins 2 kick now.
Which is good. They did some before already, but they're doing more now.
That line's just successful enough that's really allowing them to branch out a little bit now, and I think that's amazing.
So those look pretty fucking cool. And TJ Gremlin guy, I think, was one of the...
He got to do the premieres again, which is always awesome.
I like his account a lot.
Yeah, if you follow TJ Gremlin on Instagram, especially if you like Gremlins. If you don't like Gremlins, I mean, you're on a show that likes Gremlins, or you're listening.
Pretty fucking big fans of Gremlins here. I have most of the Gremlin line.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Gremlins, we got to meet Zach Galligan over the weekend. He was at Crypticon, Kansas City, so check this out. He signed Alec's VHS copy there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're following us on social media, you may have seen us posting some pictures with these celebrities. It's very nice.
He literally took it out of its sleeve to admire how good of a
Pristine
condition
that
this
thing is, yeah.
VHS is in.
Yeah, several of the VHS tapes that Alec had signed this weekend, people were just impressed with how good they looked.
Yeah, like, I wanted a good copy of that Gremlins, and that's a hard one to find. Harder than the other, like, clamshell one that just has the white background and Gizmo on the front. It's more common, I should say.
Yeah, you can find that one pretty easy. You've got the good slip
one.
cover. Yeah, and it's the really... I mean, I prefer that box art and box style.
It's crazy how many good VHS tapes I found at the Goodwill in Mississippi when I lived there, because...
Yeah, you really lucked out. The collection hasn't grown at
like
the
Gremlins
exponential
2,
rate.
I found there.
Nice.
Like a lot of those tapes, but anyway...
So other news is Walmart had a bunch of the new Ghostbusters Fright Features line, which is kind of the more kid-oriented line from the new Afterlife stuff, posted, available for pre-order. Apparently Walmart has taken most of the photos down today, but those are supposed to be launching in early August, per rumor on the street. So I'd imagine you'll be seeing the hype machine really get going for Afterlife as we start seeing more products hit the shelves.
Yeah.
And also, if you're into bedding or you have children, the official Ghostbusters store on Amazon has some cool bedding on there for kids.
Correct.
So it's pretty sweet. Showed my kids the Proton Packs again. I'm like, hey, do you want these? And Nate was all about it. Pete was just kind of like, yeah, maybe. But Pete's like really big Mario fan at the moment, so I'll just let him like what he likes, and obviously I'll get him a pack if he wants one. But if just Nate wants one, then just Nate will get one. Joys of parenting.
Clerks 3 was officially announced going into production this summer. Lionsgate purchased the film rights. So
that was today's big announcement. So congratulations to Kevin Smith on that. I think that's another movie that's getting the third that didn't pan out the first times, but I think hopefully we'll get a better version of the movie now, just because his drastic life experiences between the last take at it and this one. So
that's the thing. Some people don't like Clerks 2, but I think it's a fucking masterpiece. Especially looking back, it was just like, it wasn't quite exactly what you expected, but it was still great.
It captured the vibes without just completely rehashing and doing the same shit.
We're definitely going to get more of where he was headed with the end of that film when you have that heartful scene in the jail.
Yes.
Like, it's going to be a little more heartfelt, but it's not going to be like Jay and Silent Bob reboot either.
No, this will be its own thing, and I think it's going to be pretty special. Yeah.
We did a lot of Crypticon stuff. I guess we can get into some of that.
Well, let's do a little show and tell then, shall we?
Let's see. This is the first thing we bought while we were there, so we may as well show it off. We each got one of these.
A local soap vendor was selling some awesome stuff, and they had 2 of these Fight Club soap bars. Only 2, and Alec and I bought the first 2, so pretty excited to have that. So if you see us looking like we're on the cover of Fight Club, don't fucking judge us.
And
you would do it too.
This one is a local brand called Bombshell Bath and Beauty. Established 2016, it says. But the Fight Club soap is a dark, crisp evening, crunchy leaves, rich clove, and sweet harvest apples with a brisk, woodsy air. And they poured 7. I don't know what that means. That's probably their number. Oh,
I think it was poured in July of 2021. So smells
2020
delightful.
It says on there, but hey, it's old soap. But I didn't buy it to use it. I bought it because it's Fight Club soap.
Yes, and the fact that it smells delightful is just a bonus.
Can't really smell it. A little bit maybe in there, but either way, pretty sick.
We spent a good amount of money on celebrity autographs and things of that nature.
Yeah, you can't really see them. They're just out of frame here. I did set them up, but I didn't check with the camera to make sure they're on frame. But here's my Terry Kaiser signed my Weekend at Bernie's.
Terry Kaiser is a cool dude. He's 81 years old, so awesome seeing him at a con and chatting with him for a few minutes. And
yes,
he signed Alex before he signed Alec and fixed it, so just kind of one of those stories. You'll never forget that now because he did that, and like his handler called him out on it. But
his handler, because I whispered to you, I was like, "Oh shit, he misspelled it." I think either the handler just noticed, or he heard me.
Yeah.
But either way, he told him, and then Terry Kaiser just went "fuck," and I was like, "This is amazing and hilarious." And then he fixed it. He just wrote over it with a C real quick because he used a paint marker.
Yeah, it looks great too. I mean, it's nice.
Yeah.
And it's a story now, so, I mean, it was great seeing
him.
And
you got a free picture out of it, because he was just like, "You want a picture too?" Sure.
Yeah, he was just hanging out, chatting with us for a few minutes. It was fun.
Yeah, he told us a story about how a guy got a Bernie tattoo from him.
Yeah.
And he misspelled Bernie.
Yeah, I think he spelled it. I think he forgot the R or something is what he was saying, so
hilarious.
That's pretty heroic.
We also met Michael Bine, however you say his name. But either way, from Terminator. We got an 8x10 and a photo with him, chatted him up for a minute.
Yeah, real cool dude. Signed that little nice image for us, or for you anyway. And then, Terminator, Aliens, all the stuff you love. He was in a lot of James Cameron stuff. He was also in The Abyss. He had a pretty big role in that as well.
I love The Abyss.
So I think that's one that like people forget that he's in because it's not like on his like A list of titles, but that's another one he's in. It's great.
Yeah, that's actually a very underrated movie. I almost bought it the other day while I was at vintage stock. Sorry, I had to burp. But what else do we get? You also got a photo with, you don't have it here, but
I'll have these up posted at some point in time. I'm going to scan everything nice and pretty. But we met V. Neal, who did makeup for The Lost Boys. Obviously, that's a no-brainer for us. But Beetlejuice, Batman Returns, like fucking incredible stuff.
Yeah.
And she's got a vegan brush line she sells now. So if anyone's into like doing their own cosplay makeup or makeup effects for film or production or anything, she's got a line out that's I think co-branded under her own name and stuff. So it's pretty cool to see that artists like that are still creating and coming out with new stuff.
Mm-hmm. Who else did we talk to? Oh, Dana De Lorenzo.
Yeah.
She that was one of the greatest experiences.
So we waited in line for her for a little bit because she was doing a panel, which we had other things going on then, so we didn't quite catch that. And her line was booked all night, and so she was a little bit laid back from the panel, but well worth it. She was amazing.
Yes.
Really kind. She chatted us up, was just like in a great mood. Pretty awesome. So hopefully we'll be able to talk some Evil Dead the video game in the near future.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I was about to say, this is
that.
her agent's card. I won't show it to you because, but that's what that is. We talked to her for a minute and we're like, hey, here's our podcast thing. And she was like, yeah, sure. I'll fucking come on there.
Yeah.
Get with my agent. And she said, these guys are going to email you about coming on their podcast. She loved our outfits and shit. And we took a picture with her holding my Proton wand. So that was pretty slick.
Yeah. She's like, we're going to do a serious one and then a fun one. Okay.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And then we met a lot of great vendors in there, too, and just did some networking, chatting, handing out business cards, and just talking to people in general, seeing what's going on.
Yeah, so you can expect us to be doing a podcast sometime in the local arcade/Toy Star Kingcade. We met the owner, Billy Taylor.
Yeah, and that's over in the Oak Park Mall, so there's a vintage Toy Star arcade over there as well. So some of our members have been out there before, but...
Yeah. We've been kind of Instagram buddies for a little while now, so...
Yeah, so anytime we can like promote and help local business and talk about that, it's pretty excellent. So pretty exciting.
For sure. Who gave us these stickers?
That was I think that was Megan Monster. She's a Instagram model, but she's big into the horror scene. I think she's in some of these movies. So
there's some like vaguely furry / hentai looking stickers.
Yeah.
So
So I think
interesting.
I think she was part of the. Dead Lantern Pictures, so. But I picked up a couple of those, and these are kind of like anthologies. A bunch of local made or regionally made horror movies on there. I got 2 of them. They had a good deal on that and signed by some cast and crew and the directors and stuff like that. Pretty fun stuff, just to be silly with it, see what's out there, You may not expect the highest production value, but sometimes you just got to watch B horror films, and they still make B horror films, so you gotta appreciate those.
Yeah.
And then last year I was able to go to the I Am Lisa premiere at the drive-in over the Boulevard Drive-in in Kansas City, and Patrick Rhea, the director, I purchased this from his booth there over the weekend, and it's awesome. So we'll do a review of that sometime. But another local production.
Speaking of Patrick Rhea, I actually don't even know how you say his name. 100%,
well, if we butchered it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I am also sorry. But either way, I worked with him on a film recently. It was pretty sweet. He's a great guy. I also picked up Nailbiter, which he did a few years ago. We're going to probably review that at some point as well. I believe Tony worked on that one.
Oh, another thing I got was this badass The Monster Squad shirt I'm wearing right now.
I also picked up a DVD, Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, you want to start talk trauma films, like that's one of the OG trauma films right there.
Yep, I wanted to start getting us into some trauma films here and there and stuff like that. I know they're remaking that one, but whatever. I picked up a couple other ones randomly at Vintage Stock over the week, but just Cloverfield and Tusk,
Classics right there.
Gotta own those. Cloverfield is only $5. Tusk was new, so it was $10, but it includes a digital version, so...
Take that.
We got a sticker for The Stairs.
Yeah, that's
movie.
Another local movie, I think.
We'll have to check it out. He was doing a screening of it on Saturday there, but we weren't there on Saturday, so sorry about that.
Other obligations, I was only able to go Friday. And actually, these are pretty cool. Neil, our founder of the Midland Empire Ghostbusters, had some guitar picks made since he plays guitar as well, and so can't see it. They're kind of washed out on here, but he had some guitar picks printed up with their logo on it, so handed those to Alec and I, so that's pretty awesome. And then Rotten Reynolds hooked us up. We went over there and chatted with Rotten Reynolds, and so big shout out to them. They gave us this little blind box to open up. And obviously it's Lost Boys themed. When you hand out a Lost Boys themed business card, what do you get? You get some Lost Boys gear. Beautiful stuff.
Basically, this guy runs Rotten Reynolds, and you can buy these clamshell VHS boxes that look pretty legit, and they look a little used, and they have some rental-like stickers on them and stuff. And
he's got a huge variety.
They're little swag boxes, basically.
Yeah, so if you ever see him at an event, like, check it out. It's highly recommended. He's also got some cool T-shirts that say "Never Forget VHS" and like "Be Kind, Rewind" type stickers. So
he gave us this for free, and we were like, "All right, cool. Let's open it up on the podcast. It'll give us something to talk about." All right, so first we're gonna pull out. There's a couple different stacks of cards here.
You're gonna pull out?
Yeah.
All right. Only if you want to.
I'm not sure what these are. Let's see. Jeffrey Jones Fantasy Art Trading Cards. 1993. Interesting.
Hell yeah.
Not familiar, but, you know.
We'll take it.
Interesting. Some Topps trading cards from Rogue One.
Felicity Jones in there is amazing.
Sealed. So. These ones look interesting to me. Plasm Zero Issue Trading Cards. Which, let's see. That's from a comic book called Defiant, which I have not read.
That's awesome, though. Still seeing the variety of stuff in here.
And then some of the old school Topps cards for the Rocketeer.
Wax packs, nonetheless. And does that have bubble gum in it?
Doesn't feel like it, to be honest. I don't think it's resealed or anything. Maybe it just didn't come with those. Doesn't say it does, so... It says one sticker and 8 glossy movie cards.
Sticker. Okay, yeah. Some of them would have a gum or one sticker or something like that.
Also, since it's the Lost Boys, some plastic vampire teeth. Those will probably live in this room somewhere.
Yes.
A zombie tarot card. Knight of Hazards. Some interesting artwork on there, I suppose.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like the art on that. Definitely enjoy that style. What else you got in there?
Some like trading cards or card game stuff.
Star Trek
Hyborian
card.
Gates. Unicorn of Zen. Yeah, this is for some trading card game called Hyborian Gates, apparently.
That's cool.
Don't know what that is, but hey. This is a Star Trek The Next Generation card from the year 2000, it looks like.
In the year 2000. In the year 2000.
Beautiful.
In stereo, we're available.
A little plastic cockroach. And a plastic spider. Those are kind of cool. I like those. And a sticker that says Godfather on it and has an unnamed character on it. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure someone does, I guess.
I love that concept, though. The little blind box there, just some fun stuff, and it looks great on the shelf. And if you ever really needed to, you could just replace your VHS.
This part I do like. I like stuff like this, and it makes me want to watch this movie, but I am going to probably hang this up somewhere because it's beautiful. It says, The Mutilator. You ever heard of that movie? It says, by sword, by pick, by axe, bye-bye.
That's awesome. I love the taglines for
stuff
like that.
Yeah. Let's see, 1984. Probably just like a fucked up slasher from 84. But, you know, I'm here for it. I like that kind of shit.
Yeah, we're all about that. Let's get weird. Let's get wild.
So, well, we'll divvy this shit up. I'll take some. You'll take some.
Want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
And I got a sticker from him. I bought it. Just one of these VHS tape ones that says Never Forget and has a Rotten Reynolds little logo.
Yeah, I got a couple of stickers from him since they gave that to us, and just, you know, anything VHS related. It's like we have a VHS business card, and like he was pretty stoked on that when he saw it. So
yeah,
I think there's a whole level of appreciation for that right now.
For sure.
But that was Crypticon, really. I mean, it was an excellent weekend. Our group had a good time over Saturday and Sunday as well.
Yeah.
So, but we got a lot of content to get through. So,
Doy.
Water cooler, cold, cold, cold. 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 Water cooler, join the cold, cold. Water cooler, cold, cold. Water cooler, drink it up.
Water cooler cold.
yeah. Hey, so we're talking episode 6 of Loki for all time. Always.
Mm-hmm.
The season finale.
Yeah.
This was a pretty interesting episode. He Who Shall Not Be Named. This wasn't the over-the-top, crazy action-adventure bit you'd expect from the MCU. This is more subdued, really, than a lot of other stuff has been.
Talkie.
Lots of
no
talking.
more talkie.
Yeah, pretty much the old Billy Madison routine.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of stuff being set up in there. I enjoyed this a lot. Alec, you said you weren't like as thrilled with it. I don't think you said you hated it by any means, but I mean, the pacing it did feel a little slow compared to some of the other stuff we've seen. So
I was a little bored here and there. Yeah.
I mean, He Who Shall Not Be Named had a pretty interesting bit with it, but I felt like he should have been introduced over.
That's not what they call him, is it? He Who Remains.
He Who Remains.
He Who Shall Not Be Named is fucking Harry Potter.
Oh,
you
God
dingus.
damn it. I'm fucking stupid. He Who Remains.
Oh, man.
Booger just looked at me like with eyes like, you dumb bastard. It's all right.
I was looking for one of these sound clips, but I
already did it myself. I'll make fun of myself.
I was going to say...
You suck.
But it took me too long to find it.
Yeah.
But hey, yeah, there's a citadel at the end of time, which just reminded me of Rick and Morty.
Mm-hmm.
The citadel and shit. Multiple Lokis and variants and everything. I shit you not, I think... I mean, I don't know much if this has any basis in any Marvel comics where there's a bunch of variants like this, but it feels Rick and Morty-ish.
Yeah, I'm not...
I don't know if... You know, I know Rick and Morty just references a lot of other sci-fi and shit, too, so that could be possible, but...
Yeah, and you get into some of the more fantastical stuff in the MCU that's not as well known, right, for just the average fan. You know, a lot of people have read some Spider-Man books or X-Men or things like that, but not everyone's gotten to some of the more offbeat titles, so as you get into this expanded universe, like, it really kind of opens the door for learning about new characters, so, yeah, I didn't know shit about this guy, and then I'm like, all right, well, here he is. I did like the actor portraying him. Like, he kind of had this whimsical, like, kind of fucking nuttiness to him, like, just being by himself all the time.
Yeah.
He had, like, this weirdness to him, like, just the way he was. And then the other thing I found out was the actor who portrayed him actually did the voices of the actual timekeepers or whatever in the earlier episode, all the robotic timekeepers. So
Fun
little fact there.
During the Snoke scene.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
Owen Wilson comes back and talks to What's-Her-Face. They keep going back and forth during the explanations there, which is a way to keep it interesting.
Yeah, and he's like, basically, if you're going to kill me, just fucking do it. At this point, he doesn't even give a shit anymore because it's better than the existence he has, I think, is what he's kind of thinking. And then she's like, I want to go out there and find purpose or some shit. And you're like, whatever. But yeah, Mobius is pretty awesome. I do like how they show B-15 shows how the judge is actually like a school principal before, and so that's how she kind of gets everyone to change.
Mm-hmm.
But the real interesting piece that they didn't really explain that obviously needs some more information is when everyone forgets who Loki is at the end. And Mobius and B-15 like have no idea. They're like, what? Like, are you an analyst? Oh, okay. And like clearly something's been reset somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, I didn't really, like the last 10 minutes, I wasn't paying as much attention as I should have been, clearly, but, let's see.
And the fight scene between Sylvie and Loki was like, felt kind of half-hearted because you knew they weren't going to hurt each other, seriously, right? There's just too much chemistry between those two on screen. They wouldn't have gone through that trouble to end that, to have that kind of level of connection.
Yeah.
She does send him back and not kill him, but she's there to do her job, and she does kill our main villain, and he's basically like, oh, I'll see you again soon. Coming back. You're going to deal with my variants. It's going to be the same thing. You're not going to like it, but I'll be back. Which is interesting to say that guy's lived so many lifetimes, right? Because she doesn't believe him, and That dialogue bit was the most interesting, there where he's basically saying, look, I've been through this before, and I'm honestly just bored of dealing with this shit.
Yeah.
But it's the only way things can go, so interesting piece there.
He asked them to fucking, like, run the timeline, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he says, yeah, you want to run the TVU or whatever they call it.
TVA?
TVA, yeah. I'm fucking talking shit today. Don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Justin's tired. We also recorded an episode earlier with Craig, so we're doubling up this week.
Yeah, and we had to watch Twin Peaks between. So
by listening to this, you're getting our sloppy seconds tonight.
Yeah.
So enjoy. Oh yeah.
Drippy sloppy. Yeah.
They kill him.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, you know, he says, he's like, I'm from the 31st century on Earth and, like, discover the multiverse.
Right.
And feels like a lot of setup without a lot of delivery on the multiverse here right now. Which all the series have felt like they're kind of trying to show you some level of the multiverse here in some way. Like
well, yeah,
with,
like they
with
teased
Switchers.
it in the last Spider-Man movie. Remember, they're like,
Yep.
they mentioned it, and then it turns out he was just lying about it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's full of shit, but it's, like, really accurate. So
yeah,
that'd be interesting to see how that pans out in the future. So, really, now we just got to wait through some more Marvel flicks and kind of see. And then the big thing was there wasn't really the traditional post-credit scene. The post-credit scene was, Loki will be back in Season 2. And you're like, well, I got a feeling we're going to see him before then. But okay, sounds good to me.
Yeah. We'll see what they do. It'll be interesting. I didn't hate the series, like I said. It's just that it's just not what I was thinking was going to happen by any means. So it's just adjusting expectations and trying to come to terms with that, I guess.
Well, I guess for me, like with the whole MCU in general, is like after Endgame was so fucking big, coming back from that level of like the stakes are so high to kind of getting back to like a routine level of things, even though the stakes are big in this because you're going multiverse, but nothing feels like it's going to drastically change in the series when you watch Loki, right? I didn't feel like, okay, we're learning something new or something's drastically different than what I knew it before.
Yeah,
I mean,
which,
it feels like it's giving you the information to digest
everything doesn't
that
have
later.
to be that.
No, it doesn't.
But because I liked, I don't know, the character development throughout the whole series with Loki and Sylvie.
Yes.
They were great. There was just times where I was like, all right, this kind of went nowhere. What's happening? But I don't know.
Well, they did a whole lot of like planet traveling and skipping around through the time and stuff, which is neat. But it just, like I said, it just feels like it's preparing you to wrap your head around other shit going on later. It didn't feel like it was.
I'll have to give it the whole series another watch now that I can binge it sometime.
Yeah, that's always a good point. Watch it start to finish and see how it plays out different. So, tell us your thoughts on Loki, episode 6. Yeah. Ooh, excuse me. Like an old fucking man over here. Oh, wait, I am.
Another man's garbage is another man's gold. Leave all the nostalgia horse, just wait till you get old. Another man's garbage is another man's treasure. I know that you will hate it, and that fact gives me pleasure. Another man's garbage.
Another man's garbage. We're talking Weekend at Bernie's.
Excuse me, I took my notes on my phone for this one, like a dumbass. But that's all I had when I was over here watching with you.
Weekend at Bernie's is, to me, a masterpiece. Ahead of its time and underrated.
It's I hadn't watched this since I was a kid, probably, right? And, you know, not because I had a bad opinion on it or anything. It was just one of those movies. It was so silly as a kid, I never really stopped to think twice about it. But watching it, you see the heavy influence of this in current pop culture. Anyone that grew up watching this, you can see, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yep.
You can see it in TV shows.
That's my big thing,
like
is it
the
reminds
lead,
me
like
of
this
that dark humor
style,
of that.
Yeah, that dark style comedy that is pretty popular now was really just kind of here and there, especially for a mainstream big film at the time. So this movie really put a lot of that comedic style out in the forefront of things.
Yeah.
And it holds up really well. It's still a fun fucking movie to watch.
Yeah, it opens up with like the heat wave in New York City.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just kind of like going about their day, and
it's a weekend, and these motherfuckers are working on a Saturday, and so they go into the office and like, you want to go to the beach? And you're like, okay, these motherfuckers are going to skip work and go to the beach. And their idea of the beach is working in a fucking kiddie pool and some folding chairs on the roof of the building on a Saturday in New York City in the summertime.
Meanwhile, the tar on the top of the building is melting and it's getting stuck to their paper and their stereo and the pool and them.
Yeah, it's fucking looks insane up there.
It's kind of like until you get to the death scene, it's kind of like a little more lighthearted and typical, like, oh yeah, this definitely feels like 1989.
Oh, yeah. The outfits, the attire, everything there. You know, like lots of the sport coats and shorts and, like,
this
movie the colors of shirts and
goes
stuff.
to show how awesome Andrew McCarthy is. I wish he would have been in more stuff continuing on a larger career. But, he's in Pretty in Pink. He plays that pretty boy, basically, and interesting character there. Less Than Zero I like a lot, too. He's dramatic, a little more responsible. And this, he's, like, pushy and hilarious, and I couldn't imagine watching somebody else in this role. I mean, there's plenty of people you probably could have put there, but I love him in this.
I think this works because it's not people that you're so used to expecting their behaviors out of them, right? I think that's why this stands up so well.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, the fucking standout of this movie is Terry Kaiser himself, right? Everyone's like, oh, there's not a lot of dialogue for him.
Bernie Lomax.
You know how fucking difficult it is to act like he does the whole movie, like being fucking tied to these guys and jokers and like having that physical comedy? And, like, if you look at he's 81 right now, he's in his fucking 50s when he did this, right?
Like, basically.
Or damn near, anyway, yeah. So, late 40s when he shot this, and it's like, okay. Doing a fucking damn fine job. Like, anything physical in that movie he did I'd put up against Chevy Chase on his best day. Like, fucking out of control, like, with the physical comedy here.
So, Andrew McCarthy plays Larry. What's the guy that plays Richard's name? Do you have that written down?
I didn't write that down. Sorry.
I didn't either, because I don't know him from anything else, to be honest, but I love him in this too.
They're just all fucking snorting coke around here, and
he goes on a date with that chick, and it kind of sets up his little romance with her, and he lies to her, and his dad comes into the room and he lies about it being his butler. He just consistently lies, like, my parents are dead, they died in a train accident. And
yeah, before that he says, like, my aunt is, like, sick in the hospital, so he's got to leave or something.
Yeah, he says all sorts of fucked up weird shit to her.
Just being a fucking outright skis, but he's not being a skis in the fact that, like, he's intentional. He's doing it just because he just fucking panics and doesn't know any better. And it doesn't excuse it, but it just makes it funnier because, like, he's just fucking keeps digging the hole deeper.
Yep. And so they find something when they're on the roof, though, about some of the somebody that's basically taken out multiple policies and shit on a certain account. And they take it to Bernie to show him because they're like, oh, this will get us a fucking promotion. We'll finally, start making some more money and shit.
Yeah.
And Bernie gives him some, he's like, oh, cool, you found something good. And then he's like, wait, what you didn't account for was that it's normal to have these kind of policies. And then he points out that actually you can see that 3 of them were after the person died the first time.
Yeah.
And then you basically get the hint that Bernie, like you said, he's going in there and doing coke. He's like, I'll be right back, boys.
Yeah.
Goes in there, does some coke, comes in rubbing his nose and shit, and basically is like, oh yeah, you guys are brilliant. You got to come out to my beach house this weekend.
Yeah, come out to the Hamptons this weekend.
And he goes and meets with his, I guess one of his partners, affiliates or something, who's like an old mob boss, but now he's a corporate guy.
Yeah, they're old mob bosses, but they're basically saying, hey, we're not in that business anymore. But
and Bernie's like, you got to kill these guys for me. They're gonna fuck shit up. And then the guy decides, you know what? I'm gonna have Paulie kill Bernie.
Yeah, he's like, he's like, Bernie's too fucking loose anymore. He's not
greedy.
He's not up with this shit.
And he's fucking my girlfriend, he says.
Yeah, what you see Bernie doing, right?
Yeah.
Right, and you see her outside, and they all fucking see her chatting Bernie up at his car at the end of the night, and
yeah,
that whole ordeal, which is fun. I mean, it's like
I wrote down one of the lines he says in the office when the boys are there. I forgot, but when he has to put on his glasses to read the paperwork, he says, "Glad it's my vision, not the old joystick."
Oh yeah, that was a classic one. Yeah.
And how she says, Bernie, Boiny, 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 Boiny.
Yeah, like a terrible fucking Jersey style accent, right? Not even New York, but strictly Jersey on that.
Or when he's going on that date in New York City with that chick, walking around with her, Richard. He's the garbage. They walk past a garbage truck, and the guy who's on the back of the garbage truck says, "Hey, you want to throw her in?" It's just kind of subtle, but it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, there's some random shit in there that's hilarious.
So then Paulie goes out to the island. Bernie's there first. He's doing his usual shit. Paulie surprises him and then kills him instead. But I guess when he gets to the island, he calls him first, and he talks over the phone with him, and he's like, all right, Paulie, don't kill him when I'm around. And he's like, Jesus, we're on a phone.
Yeah, dumbass.
And it was recorded on his answering machine.
Mm-hmm.
So, fucking idiot. And then, like I said, he comes and kills Bernie then with a needle in his ass.
Yeah, injects him with something. It doesn't matter what, but he just injects him, and that's actually... Paulie's one of the most hilarious characters in this, just based on his reactions to this shit, right? Because at first you're like, okay, cool, like typical mob-style killer is coming through, like doing his, serious killing, and then...
I don't know the actor's name, but he's in a couple other things I've seen, as well as Twin Peaks, Season 2. He was in last week's episode, I believe, or the week before, maybe.
Yeah.
So they arrive, and they're like, oh, shit, look at this place. It's fucking awesome. Larry and Richard get to Bernie's, and they see that there's a Liechtenstein hanging on the wall.
Yeah, they notice that, which anyone that likes pop art will know Roy Lichtenstein.
So that's kind of cool. And then the place is cool looking. It is very much 1989 modern chic, like fucking badassery.
Yeah, bachelor pad too at that, right?
Yeah.
And fucking everyone in the Hamptons around there knows who he is.
Yep.
So
and
they start drinking his liquor.
Well, before the little party sequence happens, when they don't think he's dead for a minute. They're slapping him around and trying to wake him up and shit, and they drag him into the living room, already starting the corpse humor.
Yeah.
But then the people do start showing up for the party, and no one notices the motherfucker's dead.
No, not a single person.
The surfer dude comes by and is cracking his neck for him and shit, and he's like, oh, little loose, Barney. Oh.
Yeah, like giving him a shoulder rub. Like they look like more like meatheads, like Jim Gower.
Right. They talk like surfers, is what I mean.
Yeah. It's just...
The chick comes and pulls drugs out of his pockets.
Yeah, it takes his buddy.
The drugs
Thanks, Bernie,
that aren't his, but Paulie stashed on him to...
make it look like he overdosed.
Yeah. Then they talk about pretending he didn't die, just for a little bit, just for 30 minutes.
Yeah, they don't want to fuck up their weekend, right? And I get it, man. This motherfucker's so rich. Everyone knows him. He does what he wants, when he wants. These guys are fucking just trying to hustle and get by. Take advantage of that shit.
Larry puts Bernie's arm around him, and it's just like fucking gnarly.
Downhill from there, man. That's when you start getting to all these crazy gags of them fucking tying their shoelaces together and stuff later on. And
yeah,
I love the fucking rig out on the fucking by the pool at the patio table out there when he's got the thing rigged up to wave his arm and everything as he's eating breakfast.
Right. I like when Larry walks up to that chick that's sitting there, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Larry," and that chick just says, "Fuck off, Larry."
Yeah. And he just gets up and moves along. You're like, hey, man, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah. They try to move Bernie, and they drop him off the deck, remember, at night?
Off the fucking balcony, yeah. And
that's one of many times that he goes sliding off the edge, but this one's at night, and then he just gets washed up.
Cock blocks him.
Yeah, he cock blocks Richard.
Fucking keeps washing up ashore, the dead body does, back and forth, and you're like, yeah, he's just trying to get some pink, and he's just not having a good luck at it with Bernie just fucking washing back and forth.
Excuse my brother saying, just trying to get some pink. What the fuck?
I'm just saying, that's just what, that's kind of what, that's what he's going for. He's obsessed with that chick. Or that gal, that lady. I forget her name because I didn't have my notes.
Tina shows up, who is the mob boss's wife, after the party's over, and they run up and put Bernie in bed.
Yeah, and then, like, if you're a fan of Clerks... This heavily influenced Clerks because she fucks the corpse.
Mm-hmm. And has a good time doing it. Doesn't notice he's dead.
Everything okay? Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, it's great. And she's having a drink and a smoke and shit.
I have no idea. Rigor mortis is set in.
Oh, it's fucked up.
That is.
They're just horrified and shit.
That's one of the darkest parts of that movie. And like, they just kind of pass right over it, right?
Right. It's like, you think Clerks is bad.
Yeah.
This did it first.
Like, and Clerks makes it pretty funny because the guy's in the bathroom. She's like, oh, that was... And you're like, ugh, in the bathroom.
So then Richard wakes up the next morning and sees Larry out on the deck with Bernie. And he has Bernie with a cigarette lit in his mouth, playing Monopoly, and his arm tied to his with a pulley rig so he can make it look like Bernie's waving to people who see him. And he does this many times. And it's fucking hilarious and so fucked up.
Well, and then they fucking dump his body onto Paulie, who's like losing his fucking shit that
Yes.
he's alive, and he kills him again.
Yeah, he chokes him
After,
out.
like,
That
basically
you son of a
lands-
bitch.
Yeah. That was amazing.
Paulie's great.
And like he looks startled by that, but then progressively he just gets fucking more irate that he won't fucking die.
Yeah, he has Larry steals Bernie's Rolex and shit. Like, he's just living
He's
it
like,
up.
what? He's dead. He doesn't need it.
Oh, and then they find the suicide note, and
Yeah.
they hear the voicemail about him trying to have them killed, basically. So then they find the briefcase with the suicide note, and that's all about how Larry was getting a sex change operation so he could be in a relationship with Richard, and then Richard fell in love with someone else, so now he's going to kill them both.
Yeah.
So it's a murder-suicide.
Yeah, so like that note itself is really fucking dark.
Yeah.
Hilarious, but dark.
And Larry's like, why do I have to have a sex change? And Richard's like, Larry, no one is having a sex change.
Yeah, like this isn't reality, buddy. I love how they're trying to call the cops throughout this whole thing.
Yeah,
And
they keep doing that.
They never actually have the fucking follow through on it. You know, something always happens to
They
stop
rescue Bernie being buried in the sand from that kid, who then fakes shooting them with a gun and shit. And then they
fucking shot back the sand off his dead corpse.
One of my favorite parts is they accidentally vacuum off his wig then, and then they staple it back to his fucking head.
Yeah, when you're like, oh yeah, they staple that on there, you're like, oh. And Alec looked at me because he had staples recently, and it looked like a PTSD moment there.
Yeah, Paulie keeps seeing Bernie alive now too, and he's losing his shit because they drive Bernie's ass down to the dock to try to leave, and it doesn't work. So they have to...
they take him out on the boat ride, and that's...
No, then they go back to the place to get Bernie's boat. So then they go out on the boat, and it's like fucking Great Outdoors almost, you know? They end up just fucking dragging Bernie across the
Killing
lake
his
for a
fucking
while.
body for a minute, yeah.
Till they run out of gas and have to use him as a floaty and swim fucking back.
Yeah, so it's like Jaws. The ending of Jaws is amazing, except they use Bernie's bloated body.
They get back, and then the guy that earlier Bernie fired is there, and they knock him out because they think he's there to kill them.
Yeah, and then they fucking knock out the other landscaping
Yeah,
guy
the
as
Asian
well.
gardener, whatever. Landscaper, yeah. He takes care of the plants either way. And
so do you.
They shove them in a... Yeah, damn right. They shoved that guy in a closet and...
Smoke weed every day.
Sorry, I had to interrupt.
That was important.
We interrupt this broadcast for an important message from our sponsors.
No, so they locked these two guys in the closet, passed out.
Yeah. Basically, then Polly shows up. Well, what's her face shows up. I don't have her name written down. God damn it, the chick that's Richard's trying to see.
Oh yeah.
And she shows up and then discovers that Bernie's dead because Richard drags the bodies down. He's like, "It's just Bernie."
Yeah, it's Gwen knows who.
Gwen. Okay, there you go. That's right. And so then Paulie shows up, shoots the shit out of Bernie's corpse again.
Oh, so many fucking bullet holes in that guy.
And I can't remember what he says, but he says something really funny. And then Paulie, they're all like, "Oh, I didn't see anything. I'm blind." And then he points the gun at them, and it's out of bullets. But he has another gun, so he starts chasing around, shooting at him. Until eventually Larry is able to tie him up with a fucking phone cord, and he's fighting him, and it's amazing because Paulie's trying to bite him and shit, and it looks legit. Like, that actor did a great job with this because we were talking about it. That's all you'd have left is trying to bite this motherfucker.
Yeah, if you're getting tied up like that, that's all you'd have left.
He's like
to go
genuinely trying. You can see him, and it looks like fucking great.
And the physical comedy there, again, is great. Like, Paulie does an excellent job as well because he's getting tied up with that phone cord, and like it's this whole choreographed scene, and it's just fucking hilarious because it's so good.
Yeah, Andrew McCarthy and... Sorry for not knowing this guy's name. Wait. I have Weekend at Bernie's VHS right here.
You think he's you think he's top billed?
He better be. Jonathan Silverman, yes.
The funniest thing is when Gwen comes over and like they have to prove that Bernie's dead because he's lied so much. He's like, he's not fucking dead.
Terry Kaiser's name isn't even on the front, so...
Wow.
That's depressing. But it is on the back.
Well, that's wild.
Mm-hmm. Approximately 101 minutes. Anyway, Yeah, then the cops show up after that shit. They call the cops and kind of end the movie, but they have one last little rollout where the stretcher that Bernie's on rolls down behind them, and somebody else sees Bernie sitting behind them. And it's like, hey, Bernie, and they freak out. And then the kid starts burying him in the sand.
Again, yeah.
The second movie picks up like right where this left off.
That's amazing. We're
going to have to review it at some point. It's much worse, much more ridiculous.
So everyone come back?
I believe it's Terry Kaiser, Jonathan Silverman, and Andrew McCarthy.
Okay.
Just those three. But then there's literally like a voodoo element to it.
Yeah, it gets crazier.
Like his corpse is reanimated to music and shit. And that's why I think most people think of that when they think of Weekend at Bernie's too, especially if they're a kid back then, so they think it's much more ridiculous than it is, because this one's straightforward and dark.
Yeah, and Weekend at Bernie's too, I think, was like all over fucking or all over cable TV, just because it was one of those movies like, yeah, we'll give this to you at a discounted rate, and they played it all the time.
Yeah. Either way, we love Weekend at Bernie's, at least I do. It's one of my favorite underrated classics. That's why I was so stoked to get Terry Kaiser's signature and meet him, talk to him.
It's just got that dark humor, man, that works so well, and it's hilarious.
I don't have the second one on VHS, but I do have them both on DVD, so those are not the easiest DVDs to find, but you can find the first one more often than the second.
So let's jump into the top 5.
Alright, I guess. Where's that button at?
Top 5, 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 top 5.
This is top 5.
This is top 5. We're just doing an easy one this week. Nothing too complicated here. Just, I think it's kind of a good way to talk about what's coming out and coming up.
Yep.
That we're going to be covering eventually, that we're excited for and stoked for. Top 5 upcoming films.
Yeah, so top 5 upcoming films. What's your number 5?
My number 5 is a film coming out this October.
Halloween Kills?
No. I didn't ask you to guess it.
Oh.
I'm just building some anticipation. Edgar Wright is directing this movie. It is called Last Night in Soho.
All right.
That fucking trailer looks sick as hell, and Edgar Wright can pretty much do no wrong. He's not let me down yet. I love his work, and I love him as a filmmaker and a human being, as far as I know. So I'm going to see the shit out of that, and I really look forward to it.
All right, fair enough.
It's kind of like a thriller-ish looking movie. Lots of interesting colors. Very fascinating looking. If you haven't checked it out, there's a trailer for it. Check it out on YouTube. Last Night in Soho. Edgar Wright directed Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, The World's End, Baby Driver, those things. So,
my number 5 is Dune.
Have you read the book?
Nope. Haven't even seen the original, honestly.
I'm a fucking loser. I have the original.
Yeah,
so Blu-ray and VHS.
Yeah, I got it so we could review it sometime. We just haven't done it. We were going to do
directed
a double
by
feature.
David Lynch.
Yep.
Starring Kyle MacLachlan. Patrick Stewart's in there. A bunch of other people. Very interesting. Very fascinating.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see what they do with this take on it. It just sounds interesting when that they, may have actually done a remake. And obviously, anytime you're using a book, it's a little easier than just taking a movie concept itself and doing another take at it. So I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
What's your number 4?
My number 4 comes out in September of 2021. Not in theaters. Scooby-Doo meets Courage the Cowardly Dog, straight out of nowhere. I'm stoked for that fucking thing.
Yeah, I remember watching the trailer and like, all right, yeah, that's going to be a fun one.
I like new Scooby-Doo stuff that I like.
Well, yeah. Scooby-Dooby-Doo. My number 4 is the new Resident Evil movie coming out.
Oh, the live-action one in October?
Yep.
November?
Mm-hmm.
October.
And we'll talk about the Netflix series sooner than later, but we're going to have to binge through that and then talk about it, so.
Yeah.
What's your number 3?
My number 3 is the recently announced, for 2022, presumably, from Lionsgate Entertainment. I don't know if that's her name, just Lionsgate, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe it is.
Lionsgate. Yeah.
Clerks 3. I'm stoked for that. Just am. The plot sounds amazing that Kevin Smith has going, which is basically that Randall has a heart attack, then decides to make a movie and do something with his life. So then he has the help of Dante, Elias, Becky, Veronica in some capacity will be in the movie, at least. Jay and Silent Bob.
Yeah.
So I'm stoked.
I didn't even put that on my list because I'm still just processing my brain around that being announced today. So, like, as I put this together, it wasn't even like on my thought bubble.
I've been talking about it for months now because I've been expecting it. That's been the movie he was going to do. So.
Yeah, I know he's been out in Jersey for a significant portion of the summer, probably just doing pre-production and things of that nature. But
yeah,
my number 3 is Top Gun Maverick. Fucking long delayed. Looking forward to seeing that. I love Top Gun as a kid. It's a fun movie. The second, this one looks interesting, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to look, just the visuals of it are going to be amazing. The movie may be weh, but the visuals are going to look incredible.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings on how I want it to be great. I'm looking forward to it, but maybe the fact that I have low expectations means I'll have a better time than you, which is what happened with Terminator Dark Fate, even though I still hate that movie, but...
Yeah.
My number 2 is Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, shit. That's mine as well.
This movie looks fucking sick. We haven't seen a trailer yet. I expect we'll see one within the next 3-4 months. The way Marvel works, at least. You know what I mean? Comes out in December.
Comes out in December, so I'd imagine...
That's 6 months out, and sometimes you have trailers for Marvel stuff a year or more out, so...
Yeah, and I think with the pandemic, they didn't want to get too far ahead.
Right.
I'm hoping with Comic-Con we'll see something.
Yeah.
Next week.
Maybe just a teaser or something.
Yeah. So, yeah, even if we just see a 30-second teaser or something, I'm ready for that.
Well, we all know what the number 1 is.
Fuck yeah, Ghostbusters Afterlife, son.
Unless you're a moron and didn't see that coming.
You knew this was coming, Pete.
Exactly. Speaking of Spider-Man.
Anytime you can quote Harry Osborn.
Do it.
Do it.
You know how much I sacrificed?
A
lot. An awful lot.
Go, Web, go!
I guess we're going to move on to our other segment for film this week. As soon as I can find it.
You know what I just watched? Me pulling a can off some moron's fist? Return of the Jedi.
Did you see Alien? When that creature was in that guy's stomach?
Oh my god!
You ever seen that really old movie? Empire Strikes Back?
Jesus, Tony. Welcome to Retro Release Reviews.
Talking a very classic film this episode here, Terminator. And I'm raw dogging this one without any notes.
Yep.
Because I didn't get to watch it. I didn't have enough time, and we had to schedule that interview earlier, so I had to move some things around. But luckily, I watched it about 2 months ago, I want to say, so it's sort of fresh in there, and I've seen it a fucking 100 times. In fact, I can't see it here, but my
people might
VHS
say this is
2-pack.
controversial, but The Terminator is way better than Terminator 2.
I mean, I don't know about way better. I just like it better. Because I like darker stuff better than action. It's more horror, kind of like how Alien is, and I like Alien more than Aliens as well.
Well, it's less polished, it feels more independent, and the story's really grim.
I also really like Michael Bine in it.
Yeah.
Bine is
obviously we picked picks this week around some of the celebrities that we got to see.
Some classics from our childhood and some people that we met. So that's pretty sick.
First thing I want to shout out about this movie is Bill Paxton. And everyone wants to quote Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, "Fuck you, asshole." But you know who says it first? Bill fucking Paxton. He's the one that coins that line in the movie. And
that's
after
why
that,
he steals it.
And that's why the Terminator's quoting that later on.
Let me keep talking.
And that is fucking beautiful. They got that iconic music in there as well. And then the other thing that's interesting, and sometimes you're paying attention, sometimes you're not, is just how many fucking scars Kyle Reese has when he appears out of the time warp. He just fucking covered it, and then he steals that guy's pants, steals a homeless guy's pants.
Yeah.
And then he gets going into the retail store, which is awesome. And those Nike, what do they call those? I took a note on those. God damn it. Nike Vandals. Those are like really fucking popular shoe back then. Like they're very iconic. They're fucking super expensive on eBay to get a pair of those. But I mean, oh man, those things look
that's what I was
so
going to
good.
say is Bill Paxton's one of the punks. So is Brian Thompson. You know who that is? Shao Kahn in Annihilation.
Oh, no shit. That
He's
makes
the
sense.
other one.
Huh.
One of the other ones that gets killed immediately. That
he gets killed
pulls
first,
the knife first.
and then the other guy is the guy that starts stripping.
Yeah.
Yep, okay. It takes place on May 12th. It's a Thursday, per the cop, is what they say.
What day is it?
May 12th.
That's not what he says.
I know.
What year?
Yeah.
What year?
And then it doesn't get an answer, asshole.
The music in that sequence and that sequence in general is fucking awesome.
That little synthesizer they have in there is so badass.
You can see Arnold's tallywhacker when he walks up to them naked also. Have you ever seen that?
I guess I've never noticed it.
Holy shit, really?
Uh-uh.
Somebody pull that up for him. You can see Arnold's tallywhacker when he walks up to them. They shot that at the observatory, the Griffith Observatory in L.A.
Okay.
Which is like way high up and looks out, you know? It's a famous spot in L.A. L.A. people would know it, and anybody who's kind of big into tourist or film location-y stuff would know that because they shot a lot of stuff there. But that's where Arnold shows up, and that's why there's those things that they're looking through and shit because they're at the observatory out there. And that's interesting stuff. You get to see kind of how the time travel works, how it looks visually, and everything's really cool. This is like the best shape Arnold is ever in, basically, in terms of like his age. He's not super young. He's not super old yet, but he's like...
Yeah, he's in his prime there,
fucking
right?
killing machine, basically.
The other thing I love about this movie is they make his makeup so unsettling at some points in time on purpose, right? Just because it's, it really makes him look like he's not alive, but he's alive enough to make, it work.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that goes away in Terminator 2, but in this one it really works and sells it for me.
So I like the whole Kyle Reese sequence when he's running around the store, like you said, put on the Nikes and stuff. He steals the shotgun and then just starts walking away on the street, basically. Then you see Sarah Connor, like...
driving her Honda moped to work.
Yeah, she goes to work, and I always laugh at the sequence where the kid puts his ice cream in her little fucking apron or whatever.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, hey, I should give you that. You do the tip, kid, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
This is funny. I don't need notes to talk about.
Yeah, I know you're
or
like,
to have
right on
watched
point.
it. I'm like spewing out some fucking real knowledge here.
The saddest part of this movie is when Dick Miller gets killed. He's the gun store clerk.
Yeah, because Dick Miller's in Gremlins.
He's in Gremlins. He's in all kinds of stuff, man. He's great.
Dick Miller I cast in my Hateful Eight cast.
Yeah, he'd have been fucking excellent in that for that throwback.
Dick Miller's excellent, but yeah, he's the gun store owner, and you can't do that in here.
Oh, the other, so Ginger also is dating a guy named Bunky.
I love it when Bunky calls, right?
Uh-huh. And you know who Bunky is? Slider in Top Gun. I knew he looked familiar.
Huh.
I was like, yeah, that's some motherfuckers in Top Gun, too.
That's nice. I didn't know that. But he calls up and is trying to talk sexy to her on the phone. He's like, first I'll unbutton your blouse, button one by one.
Yeah, and then she laughs at him. She's like, oh, she's over here in the other room.
She acts offended at first, just so he's like, feels bad and awkward and shit.
Yeah.
What are you doing? Acting like a freak.
It's going nutty. The mascot is on the loose. No, so that's so much fun. And then you see Arnold get the phone book page and then goes and kills the first Sarah Connor, and he just knocks on the door. Sarah Connor.
Sarah Connor.
Fucking
yes.
Just ices her, man. Just fucking mows her down.
Yeah, that scene's terrifying because
It
he
is.
just like pushes the door open, breaks the chain, points the fucking gun at her, and it's all in like slow motion with this terrifying music. It works so well, and then he fucking lays the bitch out.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking brutal. Like, it's terrifying.
But I like when he pulls up to that house.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fucking camera shots. This is just James Cameron shit I love. There's that big fucking truck that he runs over. It's like a children's toy, and he parks the wheel perfectly on it and fucks it up.
Yeah.
And you zoom up, and he's like getting out of the car and everything. Which earlier he walked up to it, just fucking punched through the glass to steal it and shit.
You know what else works really well in this early on is the is you're trying to tell Kyle's backstory, his future story, right, without just forcing it in there. So the fact that he's at that construction site and he just has like his form of PTSD, like being reminded of what he's experienced just because of construction truck lights. And
those are the best future war sequences, in this one and number 2.
Yeah.
Because they have a few of them in 2 as well, but they're
and they look great. Different. And then the other thing they have going on throughout all that is the, throughout this movie, they have these scenes where you see that and then you see the Sarah Connor picture, which obviously is the one that the kid takes at the very end of the film, and I think that works well to kind of tie it all back together.
So Kyle starts kind of following her.
Yeah.
He finds her first, starts following her. Then the Terminator goes to our Sarah Connor's apartment. He kills another one first. But do they show that one?
I don't think we see that one. They just start announcing that they think it's a serial killer because it's the second one in there.
So they one of her coworkers says, "You're dead, honey." I think the first one maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second one starts to freak her out.
Yeah, and that's when you're introduced to the cops.
Yeah,
you start getting to see them.
Yeah, that's what happens because her date canceled on her, so she's like, "I'm gonna go out to a movie." That okay with you?
Yeah.
And then she goes and sees critters. No.
She fights Casey Jones.
Where did I come up with this stuff? No, she goes out.
Again,
thinks she's being followed because she is.
Mm-hmm.
Hides into a club and calls the cops. And they're like, "Oh, good, we're looking for a fucking Sarah Connor because of this shit." And
the first time she tries
Ginger
to
gets
call.
killed by a fucking Terminator.
Yeah, and the first time she calls, or no, when she's at the club and calls, and they're like, "Hey, all circuits are busy," right? And if you've ever called the cops or whatever for that, and you've gotten a busy fucking tone, you know how aggravating that is. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
So, and then obviously he finds Sarah Connor's mom's house at the lake, and he goes up there, and you see him. Don't you see him take that early on before when he kills her?
Yeah, he takes the little handbook or whatever at her apartment.
Yeah, which comes back in later. It's kind of out of sequence.
He hears the voicemail.
Yeah.
Heads to the club.
Yep. And obviously Kyle intervenes at the last second, and then she explains, in that conversation, which is interesting. He's like, they're so advanced, it's hard to tell. He's like, I didn't
That's
know
like an anxiety scene too.
Yeah.
Because it's like she almost legit dies before he starts blasting with the shotgun.
Yeah, it's like one of those fucking scenes like, oh, damn, this movie almost ended before it got started.
And imagine if you had just like randomly walked into this movie without seeing a trailer and you'd gone in completely unprepared. You wouldn't know that he's like a robot necessarily at this point until he gets back up and you're like, whoa, what the fuck's happening here? I guess you did see him get stabbed earlier, but fuck.
Yeah, they don't really explain that. You take that for granted, right? If this is your first viewing of that, you have no idea what the fuck he is. You're like, why the fuck is he surviving all that?
It is such a pop culture thing now, it's hard not to know, but
yeah,
imagine seeing this in '84 just because, I don't know, you hadn't seen the trailer and you were like, fuck it, sure, it's Arnold.
When the Terminator unloads that fucking Uzi when they're in that gun battle there, and then he fucking reloads and unloads again, man, and he's fucking spraying bullets everywhere.
Yeah.
And then obviously you get that famous line by Kyle Reese, "Come with me if you want to live," which obviously everyone
attributes to Arnold in the second one.
References it. Yeah, again, it's somebody else's line that Arnold says later on at a different time.
Yeah.
So kind of some of those silly things. And then they explain that when they're explaining that, though, they say the 600 system had the rubber skin, and these ones have like the real skin on top of them.
Exactly.
And they explain the Skynet war a little bit different. They don't even say the word Skynet in this movie, do they? I don't think they do. I don't think that's even like explained in here at all.
I'm not sure. Now that you say that, I feel thrown off, but I don't know.
Well, Terminator steals that cop's car, chases after them, and then, as John's trying to fucking explain to Sarah that he's not a fucking psychotic nutcase. It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity or remorse or fear, and it absolutely will not stop ever until you are dead. Pretty fucking iconic line, man. Like, it really gets the point across. Conveys the sense of urgency that you're looking for out of that. Great delivery, too. think that's probably one of the best little moments in the film of just expose.
Yeah. They're chased around again by Terminator. In the parking garage, he finds them.
Yep.
The cops also find them. Terminator escapes after the car accident there. They are driving at a fucking wall or something. It's hard to remember exactly how that goes down, but...
Hey, wait. You do know that the Terminator is the Terminator because you're seeing some of his scanning mechanisms going on.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's not super early yet.
I'd have to
remember exactly when it
they
happens,
do that for the first time, but yeah.
Either way,
when you really get into the nitty gritty, though, is when you see the Terminator take himself to a hotel. Which why he does that at a hotel and in front of the mirror, I think, is just strictly for setup purposes. But cuts open his arm and repairs himself, and then he cuts out the lens of his eye, so he's wearing the sunglasses throughout the rest of the movie. I remember as a kid, this part like really fucking grossed me out. The X-acto knife to the eye was always like,
oh yeah,
disgusting.
It's fucking awesome though. Even though the part of it looks really bad, but it looks good.
It looks good bad because it's still practical, so it still looks better than like it could have CGI. But it's aged, but it still looks good enough for what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the best lines in this is he's talking about sort of a retroactive abortion.
Yeah.
During the interrogation. That's a whole wild bit in there as well.
Yeah, he's like,
And then, of course, the I'll be back line starts in here, too, when he goes and gets the car and fucking starts killing the cops and shoots up the whole fucking place.
Yeah, one of the few lines that's actually his.
Yeah.
He fucking shoots that place the fuck up. It's very interesting. Fun scene. Kyle and Sarah pretty much escape.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is where they head to the motel and shit. Well, actually, they go under the bridge first, I guess.
She realizes he's shot, and then she realizes, like, hey, we got to get you fixed up. And he's like, hey, I can't go to a hospital.
Then he tells her more about John Connor when he's getting stitched up and stuff.
Yep.
And you can tell that he's like, all right, I want to get my dick wet for the first time.
Yeah, he's basically... And I think he's told that he's the dad, so he knows what he's got to do. So you got to travel back.
I don't know if he's told that.
It's almost implied that like he kind of has some level of understanding of that. But I mean, then that's just kind of through the end dialogue. She's like, do I tell you about your father? I do. Like on the tapes that she leaves for John. So maybe Kyle doesn't know, but John eventually knows that that's his dad. So that's why he gives him the picture of Sarah and all that stuff. So, and we also find out in the future there's not a lot of time for fornicating when you're fighting the robot war.
Apparently not,
because he is a virgin.
Yeah, and then she bangs him, and you get to see Linda Hamilton's jahoobs. And then Booger unplugs the cables, and we stop podcasting.
Great.
Like, legit, you gotta move, Booger, right now. You're taking it with you.
Like, did I do that?
That's alright, Bug. I'm just gonna hold you here. So, at this point, when does the Terminator get burned and have like his hair singed and his eyebrows burned off? Has that happened already at this point?
No, it's about to happen. So, like, after that, that's one of the next big things. Like, after they have sex that night, then, you know, the next time they encounter the Terminators when the exoskeleton gets revealed.
Yeah, they build... No, not the exoskeleton.
Oh, I mean, yeah, the Terminator machine underneath gets...
Not talking about that?
You're not talking about that yet?
Okay, then it did happen, and you just didn't notice.
Why, who get...
You remember Terminator has long hair?
Yeah.
And then it's just burned off in the front like it is here? Well, that's not it. But that picture, it's like burned off.
Oh, okay.
And his eyebrows are burned off at that point too. So that's another reason why I think he puts the sunglasses on, because it's either after that or the first time.
Yeah, I just knew his eye was so fucked up he puts the sunglasses on. I didn't put much thought behind it. So.
No, you got to pay attention to it next time. You can see his hair is like totally singed off and looking fucking stupid as hell.
That's crazy.
And he has no eyebrows.
Yeah, but anyway, the skin burns off. It's down to the skeleton, and then he backhands Kyle as the Terminator, which is pretty cool. That whole final sequence through the if it's like a manufacturing facility or whatever it is, it's pretty interesting just because, like, you see technology defeat technology, which is kind of fun. Kind of sets that up. It's interesting when you look at it in terms of, they're in there in this automated factory, which is ahead of its time or like very modern for 1980s.
Yeah.
And then obviously that's what, they're able to defeat the Terminator with.
Yeah. The other one ends in a factory setting too.
Yep.
Smelting.
And then Kyle, when he dies, the Terminator gets blown in half at that point in time because he used that pipe bomb and he just basically sacrifices himself. I don't think he's intending to, but he knows he's got to keep Sarah alive, so that's his best move.
You could make a meme that's a picture of Kyle Reese and it says, has sex once, gets girl pregnant.
Yeah.
Literally just once.
Mm-hmm. Must have been pretty potent
for him.
Well, he'd been holding on to it for years. Even time traveled with it.
I haven't been home in years.
And then obviously there's the very famous line, "You're terminated, fucker." Crushes the machine.
Mm-hmm.
The arms hanging out.
Holy shit! Fucking A, man.
Choking on her. The other piece, though, that's interesting that I noticed, and just thinking of in terms of Terminator 2, I know we're not talking about that, but they show the chip and they show the arm from Terminator 2, but the legs are clearly survived as well. They're just laying around in the warehouse.
Yeah, they could have just destroyed the legs.
Yeah, they could have, but I'm just saying, like, everything else is crushed, and those legs are still off somewhere else, just hanging around, so.
No, I get that.
And then she's making those tapes kind of as, you drive off in the desert down into Mexico and everything else. And I think the ending works pretty well in that movie, right? It's not over the top, but it just kind of explains things. It's way less convoluted than, like, some of Terminator 2 is with it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like this before his ex. You can see how he's missing eyebrows and his hair's all burned off. When he still has more of his face, they have it too, but...
Yeah.
It looks fucking goofy and shit.
The interesting piece, though, is like that the final act is not Arnold. It's all just the skeleton. And like, do you think that adds to it? I mean, it's more terrifying that way, but Arnold's build
it works
is
because it just keeps coming what they've already done to it. That's why I think it works.
Yeah. Yeah, even after it's all been through a fire, it still goes, yeah.
It's interesting. And then she has their whole speech about the future and shit at the end.
Yeah.
Before he says a storm is coming. I know. Something like that. That's what she says. I think that is what she says, but I don't know.
Yep. It's
and then
a
she
good
drives off into the storm.
No, it's great. I mean, it holds up really well. It's still fun to watch.
It's a motherfucking masterpiece.
It is.
Pretty good.
So much of this is just more terrifying. Like, the T-1000's a great villain, but the Terminator himself against a human and, like, not being able to fight it with the current weapons of the time is great. I think that really makes it more exciting.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess that's Terminator, huh?
You're a Terminator, fucker.
And to close off this week, we'll do the old...
We now return to the real Ghostbusters.
Diane, 11:30 a.m., February 24th. Entering the town of Twin Peaks.
Pretty good.
Bill Murray's the funniest man on the planet.
Episode by episode.
Twin Peaks.
Twink Peaks.
Twink Peaks.
You guarantee that it is a porno that exists. I'm pretty sure it is.
I'd be really disappointed in the existence of humans if it wasn't.
You sucked that guy's dick?
Woo! So, this is a pretty good episode. Some interesting
Pretty
stuff
good.
in there. And then you start getting to that plot line that you say is pretty well hated.
Yeah.
Kind of mixed in there.
You start into it anyway.
Yeah, you start off with James on his motorcycle trip.
I just want to get on my bike and go.
And he's not made it very far. He hasn't left the Pacific
His head
Northwest yet.
definitely looks like Terminator's when it's singed, though. Like he has that.
Yes, he has that. Yeah, he has the
but
big...
way more of a 5 head.
Yeah.
Because that's Terminator 2 there. But yeah, when he has the hair singed, he looks like that.
For sure.
And I'm just tired of James's shit at this point. I'm over it.
It's one of those characters you just kind of want to hate because he's just not really... Just kind of derpy in a way that's like, I could do without you.
Miss Briggs talks to Cooper and Harry
mm-hmm.
at the old sheriff's office about Garland, disappearing.
Yep, when you start to learn about that he does that sometimes. He just disappears for a little while.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay. And she's like, it's classified.
Yeah.
Okay. So you don't have to get anything too crazy with that.
They're announced, Richard tells, Richard.
Gordon Cole calls Dale.
Cooper, and tells him that Dennis Bryson is going to be there.
From the
DEA, yes. Then he has a meeting with Roger, who's his superior at the FBI, who's, he's heading the investigation against Cooper for the allegations and shit. He has that meeting with him, to which Roger's like, Cooper basically is like, yeah, just do your investigation, I'll cooperate. And he's like, you're not even going to stand up for yourself. Like, this is pathetic.
Yeah, he's trying to talk shit on me. He's like, no, I know protocol. He's like, but it just needs to do it. It just needs to run its course, basically.
Yeah. He's like, the suspension will stand then, and the DEA investigation begins today. It's up to Canada to see what's up next. James on his motorcycle again. We don't give a fuck. He arrives at this bar, talks to the introduced character of Evelyn, who offers him a place.
Evelyn Marsh. She wants her car fixed.
Yeah.
In exchange for...
Dick
and board.
Yeah. She wants James's penis, but also perhaps has sinister ulterior motives, because it's a soap opera.
Absolutely.
We'll find out. So Briggs talks about the White Lodge to them. That's fascinating.
Yeah,
that's what he says.
And
before
Hawk really breaks down what it is, right? Because he's like, what was the last thing he said? Well, he mentioned the White Lodge. And then Hawk gives you the whole breakdown of what that is to his people, and it's something that even Harry knows about and understands pretty well. He's pretty well versed in, so.
Yeah.
Which is the interesting piece, right? Because Harry's kind of the skeptical non-believer of any of this stuff, and then to see him already know more of the lore than you expect him to, just doesn't believe it.
Because of the Bookhouse Boys and stuff, and just working with Hawk. But then Denise shows up.
Yep.
And that is portrayed by David Duchovny. Dennis used to be... Well, Denise used to be Dennis.
One of the key lines from their little first interaction is that, I've learned to never judge too quickly after recent experiences in my life.
Yeah.
And Dale Cooper is the gentleman you expect him to be. He's totally accepting of that, and...
He's curious, but he's not an asshole about it by any means. He's just totally accepting. He's like, all right, well, let's talk about what we're here to talk about.
Yeah, it says Denise, and then he slips one time, and they don't make a big deal about it. He apologizes, but he's immediately trying to adapt and respect.
Harry
Denise.
is weirded out by it, and even Hawk is, and I'm like, fuck off.
Yeah, they don't say anything.
But
so.
You can tell by Dale's portrayal that this is still a positive thing.
Then you get to that gym scene, because we'd already seen Nadine talking about Mike in the hallways, and
yes, this is my note for this was subplot city.
Yeah, there's just so many other loose ends. They're just kind of sprawling around here just to keep things.
I like this subplot because she's entertaining. It's my second favorite subplot in season 2 of the hated subplots. James and Evelyn's the worst fucking one. This one's not bad. We haven't got to my favorite yet. It'll be introduced shortly.
Well, we also see Josie's in bed with the sheriff again, kind of hanging out. She's hanging out low, and he's like, "Look, I can't help you, or I can't be with you until I know the truth." And she's kind of been a mysterious, notorious liar, habitual liar in this, right? Everyone's getting a different side of her. So, and then Nikki's there with, I don't know, she's trying to trudge their parenting skills or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's what they're doing. I hate that subplot too. It's that one. That subplot in general is, I just hate Dick Tremaine. Yeah. But I like Andy and Lucy. So.
And Nikki's this asshole kid who's causing problems for both of them at the diner. It's this great malt shake.
So there's 4 subplots in this episode alone, because then you also have Norma at the diner dealing with the fallout of that, and Hank, and then Hank dealing with Ben.
Yeah, there's that whole piece too.
And being like, I'm taking over, or Jean Reno is taking over the One-Eyed Jacks. And Andrew is alive. Josie Packard's dead husband is not dead. He is alive. Catherine knows this. They are brother and sister.
Yep. That's kind of like the big cliffhanger reveal at the end of the show, or the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But the whole wedding subplot in this episode's hilarious, too.
With the old men, yes.
With the old man, the old mayor, the mayor and his brother, right? You know, like they talked about it in the last episode, and like in this episode, you're really going to see it going on. And
yeah, he's like 80 and he's married to a 20-something-year-old, really young.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And then you get Dale listening to those tapes up in his room before. It's kind of like listening to that and
hearing Wyndham Earl say some cryptic shit.
Yep. But yeah, the bitter old man's hilarious, man. He's just great at the dinner table and everything else. And then,
talking shit on his brother.
Yep. Then we get that big ending, though. Andrew Packard's alive. And pretty much roll credits after that. So it's a fun episode. There's just a lot of shit going on in it.
He's alive! You're gonna be okay. What's a guy got to do to get some food around here?
Say the goddamn words. You're gonna be okay.
You should almost do like a parody of that where it's fucking Raphael in the bathtub, but it's the back seat.
It's the turtles having
Leonardo
a
going, "You're gonna be okay."
Are you a medical doctor?
Oh man.
Well, let us know your thoughts if you're following along with Twin Peaks. This is a great series. We're having fun with it. So
yes. Keep your eye on our YouTube this week as well. If you already are there watching this, hello. There's going to be more to come. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. But we do have some fun stuff coming up. We keep teasing it and talking about it, but we have a t-shirt site coming as well as a Patreon. Join our Facebook group, which is called the Frog Bros Video. You just search it up on Facebook and request to join.
We're talking anything pop culture related. You know, there's some memes in there, not a crazy amount of them, but you know.
Anything adjacent to our podcast, basically, or stuff that we talk about or reference, or anything that you really like that you think we would like.
It's a place for conversations and growing friendships.
We got about 100 members now, somewhere near there. I don't think it's actually 100, but it's like 97, 97.
Close to there, so.
Join that. YouTube.com/thefrogbros if you haven't. We do have a episode coming up with Craig Goldberg from YHS Yes Have Some Podcast. So
yeah, we'll be talking about another movie's 5th anniversary. Surprise, surprise.
As well as just the usual extra content on our YouTube.
Yeah.
If you're just a podcast listener, definitely head over there because there's always we try to upload at least 2 videos a week besides the podcast. So
check it out. There's usually something to look at.
Check it out. Yeah, we got over, I think we're at 118 videos on there. We're at podcast 70, and then we have like 9 bonus episodes of the podcast we've done. So we've done like 79 podcasts, plus 40 YouTube videos, give or take. So there's lots of content on there. So go check it out.
Yeah.
And I think on that note, we will turn on our little outro music.
Fade to black. No, but jump in there. Check us out on Twitter. If you're not following us on there, we've been way more active on Twitter.
Bros_frog.
Yep. Good conversations on that piece.
Yes.
Some interactions with some celebrities, other people that are noteworthy.
Yeah, lots of interesting photos on our Instagram this week, too. If you haven't seen those, check those out.
Plenty more to come. Stuff you haven't seen yet. I had some stuff signed to the podcast just because I need to have some good stuff to display when I got to record at home.
Yeah. Alrighty, guys. Peace out.
These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers.
Shut this off. Shut these all off.